you know, where this ship goes up and down on the currents of the ocean, but you're able to roll with it, or being on one foot and you're able to maintain balance. In the reverse position, it says there may be less access to that. It emphasizes the lower sides of the card, which is feeling off balance, feeling like you've got too many balls in the air, feeling like you're on one foot, that things are on shaky ground, that you're pulled to polar opposites. So it's telling me, Virgo, at the beginning of November, you're feeling a little bit off balance with something. And with Nine of Swords showing up in the reverse position too, it's saying that there may be a little bit of overthinking or worry. This card, Nine of Swords, can be about anxiety, you know, keep staying up at night, insomnia. Just swords represent the mental element, they represent thoughts, and this card is often too many thoughts, too much thinking that causes this tension, this anxiety. You may not be realizing, because it's in the reverse position, that something is really causing you this stress, this mental stress, this anxiety or tension. I'm also seeing Devil here, which often can represent believing in things that aren't real. So, and it's a card where we turn our will over to something that seduces us or something that we're addicted to, things that ensnare us and that we turn our will over to, and it catches us. Like, it catches us out of our own surrender to the thing that is not real, surrender to the lies or the things, the scripts or the tapes that we're believing that diminish us and disempower us. So when I see Devil come up, it can, on the high side, it can mean passion, it can mean feeling totally consumed with something, but surrounded by this Two of Coins feeling off balance and this Nine of Swords overthinking, tension, worry, anxiety, the sense that I'm getting is that you may be giving into some of your passions, some of your addictions, some of the things that seduce you and then keep you confined. In the Rider-Waite, one thing that I always point out, which is another deck that is sort of like the standard, is that there's a male and a female person that have chains around their necks in this card. And what I always point out is that the chains are loose enough that they can take off those chains and walk away at any moment. It is their willingness, their belief, their false belief, which is another theme of this card, that they are enchained and enslaved, that prevents them from walking away, prevents them from seeing the light behind this character that is actually true. So what are you, when this card shows up, I ask, what are you believing that's not true? How are you surrendering yourself to something that's seductive to you or addictive to you? How are you giving your own power away and not acknowledging it? Because it's really throwing you off balance and making you overthink things, over-worry things, Virgo. I mean, you guys tend to kind of have an overactive mind as it is. You're ruled by Mercury. It is a mental, even though you're a grounded card, your mind can sometimes have a mind of its own. And you are able to, one of your strengths, Virgo, is able to see the fine details on something, have very critical, analytical thinking. But when you go into Nine of Swords overdrive, it's kind of like, there's too many swords flying through the air. You need to rein it in. Having a couple thoughts about things, thinking things over is one thing, but making mountains out of molehills, it's just giving you this mental anxiety. I'm almost getting like, it's kind of like this electric shock, too much air energy, too much thought, too much, it can give you insomnia or keep you up at night. So what I'd like you to do, or what I'd encourage you and invite you to do, is confront this character head on. What are you giving your power away to? What is seductive to you or addictive? Or what is a false belief that you keep giving into? Look behind it, look past it, see if you can see the light that's behind it. Because if you're consumed with, this guy's got me, I always revert back to this, it always throws me off balance, it always trips me up. Try to re-examine that. Try to look past it. See what's the truth behind it, because it's keeping you ensnared and it may be keeping you up at night. So Virgo, break free. Seven of Coins in reverse. This is a card of patience. This is a card of reflection, consideration, assessment, considering whether what you're planting is yielding the fruit that you want it to. This is the Farmer card, and it's a card of someone who puts a lot of time into things, but maybe growing bored with how things are, or it's a time to assess. Do I want to continue harvesting this crop? Do I want to continue planting these types of seeds and continue getting these types of results? Am I happy with that? Or do I want to plant something different? Do I want to invest my time in something different? It's a real card of like resting while things ripen to consider and evaluate whether that's the continued direction you want to go in or not. It's also a card of patience. So you can see that these things are blooming, and often when and in the other deck, sometimes these look like grapes or grape fields, vineyards. And one of the themes of this card is that if you pick things too soon, they're not as sweet. So you have to take time to let things ripen, let things bloom, let things culminate. So in the reverse position, what it tells me is that you may be having a difficult time allowing things to come to their sweetness. You may want things right now, or you may have a hard time reflecting and assessing, taking time to contemplate. You may want the results right now, and you may want to like harvest things that are not sweet yet. You have to let time take its course, its natural course, and allow this richness, this sweetness to develop. So it's also telling me, Virgo, you may need to be patient, both with yourself and with the results around you. This is kind of like, I want everything right now. I keep getting tripped up. This is a real set of mind feeling off balance. There's a lot of jittery energy here and giving oneself over. You might want to reassess. Is that the lifestyle that you want? Are you planting seeds that you're reaping the fruit from that you enjoy? Or do you want to reconsider? Do you want, this is like a crossroads card. Do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? This is also a very spiritual card. Sevens represent the spiritual element. So you might be considering your spiritual values. Do I want to keep going in this direction or not? Try not to be impatient when this card shows up, Virgo. In the middle of the month, I see beautiful things happening for you if you can allow them in. You have Star and Sun, two of the luminaries in the sky. Excuse my dog there. So Sun, both of these cards are very positive cards. Even in the reverse position, them showing up, it's hard to make these be negative cards. And not that we would even want to, but even in the reverse position, they're still very strong. So the Sun represents vitality. It represents our radiance, our natural radiance. So does Star. Star represents accepting ourselves just as we are. You can see in this card she's naked. She doesn't have any clothes. She doesn't have any status. It's not about reputation. It's about her own intrinsic being, her own worth, and her own place in the world. So you can see the natural elements here, the bird, the tree, the flower, the stars. They all have their own place in the world. They have their own value, and they have their own internal radiance like the star does just by being itself. And she recognizes this. She knows this. So this is a great card of hope. And it's a card of renewal as well. She's got 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on earth. This represents being balanced both emotionally and being grounded. This is acknowledging your own place in the world. So Virgo, with this card in the reverse position, is there a way that you have resistance, doubt, or fear to acknowledging your own self-worth, acknowledging hope, acknowledging your own place in the world? This is showing up for you, but in the reverse position, it's saying that you're having a hard time seeing it or accessing it or allowing it. There may be doubt or fear or some way of it being in shadow. Same with Sun. This card is a card about natural radiance, natural vitality. It's about integration of the self with the other, so balancing your male and female qualities. It's about what shines through once we accept ourselves just as we are. Are you allowing that, Virgo? Are you allowing your own natural radiant self not only in the gentle light of the night, but during the fiery sun, day of the sun. So this sort of says self-acceptance must come first before integration and radiance of the self, like the full self, comes through. This card is a card of joy, vitality, shining forth who you are. This is a card of kind of discovery of who you are, acceptance of who you are. This is when you radiate it out. So, and you can see there's themes here too of not only self-acceptance, but of coupledom. Sun and moon are probably the most natural, in natural relationship, or rather sun and moon. Sun and star are two beings that occupy the same space at different times of day, but in the same way. They're both actually there at the same time. We just see them at different points. But the point is that they both have their own natural place. They both shine this light out. So how are you resisting or not allowing your own light to shine? How are you doubting that? How are you holding that in check? It's here. It wants to be here, Virgo. It wants to, and it's almost like the antithesis of this. It's not turning yourself over to anything. It's not being seduced. It's not falling into addiction. It's not giving yourself away to something else or denial of the self. This is you getting to be you, first gently and then in a radiant, profound, vital way. How are you blocking that? Are you allowing that to come through? That's going to be a question for you mid-month. And it's also, look at how the themes of these cards, it's really funny. You've got Sun, Queen of Wands in reverse, and then Six of Wands. This is triumph, success, reputation. This is the person who comes in on the white horse, the rescuer, the guy who has, victory laurels and wreaths. He's the guy that everyone salutes and in some ways bows down to and says, you're the guy. This is Superman or Superwoman. This is the person who's in a place of achievement, victory, and triumph. What's blocking that, Virgo? I mean, look at the themes of these two cards. Look at the sunflowers. That's actually, for some reason, I do associate sunflower with Virgo because it is it is a plant from the end of summer. It's like the harvest. It's when it's this radiant thing. And we've got Queen of Rods, who is confident, who is bold, who is radiant, just like the sun. She's a fire card. So this is all about you shining forth yourself, Virgo. Sometimes, Queen of Rods can represent a fire sign like Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius. So it could be someone who is a fire sign or holds that archetype of Queen of Rods. But the real sense I'm getting for you, Virgo, is what is blocking your radiance? What are you holding back from the world? What are you not sharing? What are you feeling unconfident about? Or not shining forth your own light because it really wants to come out. This is you. Look at all these sunflowers. Middle of November, Virgo, if you can work on your self-acceptance, your hope, your recognizing your own intrinsic value and your own place in the world, getting there with yourself first, and then radiating that out to the world. Showing up, being joyful, being you, getting to just shine like the sun, then that can lead you to more confidence, more just feeling at home in your own skin, feeling fiery, feeling vital, feeling like, I'm in control of my life. I have my own authority. I am this confident, bold, witty, attractive, intelligent person. I mean, it leads to this victory, status, reputation, the person who saves the day, the person who wins, the person who everyone recognizes as the person, the man or the woman. So interesting timeline here for you in the middle of the month, Virgo. Self-acceptance, radiance of the self, confidence, boldness, acknowledgement of the self-sovereignty. And then everyone else recognizes it too. It has to start with you though, Virgo. Go into this hope and this insight of the star. In fact, go out at night and look up at the stars if that's what it will take for you to connect with your own self. Aside from any reputation, aside from any any need for anything, you know, acknowledgement from the outer world. This is you acknowledging yourself internally. It's really funny, actually, too, that in some ways these two are opposites, but yet one leads to the other. This one doesn't care what the outer world thinks. This is about internal value. It takes the recognition of the internal value to get to the external recognition. You know, this is the guy who's wearing all the garb of the military, of the person who's got, you know, the plumed helmet, the victor, the white horse, you know, this is up on display. This one is, you know, out in the center of the square. This one, it's very quiet. It's very solitary. It's very just self-focused. So they're almost opposites, but one leads to the other. So start here, Virgo. You need to have that insight, your own recognition of your intrinsic worth, your intrinsic value, your own place in the universe. So that'll be an interesting theme for you mid-November, Virgo. So work on that. See if you can allow your own radiance to shine through. That's what I'm really getting for you. Then towards the end of the month, if you may be feeling there is some heartbreak here. There is some disappointment. There is some way. There is Three of Swords. This card depicts heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, sadness. There's something that's heavy on your heart, and it's throwing you off balance, Virgo. This is Temperance, which represents calmness, serenity, taking the middle path, compromising, moderation, peace. With this in the reverse position, there is a way in which your peace is being knocked off balance. It's echoing this card. You know, in both of these cards, we see an element of trying to balance these two forces. In this case, it's you can see the dynamic where it's pulled between the two. They're tied together, but they're opposite. In this one, there's a graduation of that where it's combining of the two elements, pouring back and forth, so they become a new element. It's a synthesis card. It's a creation of new things through balancing of opposites. However, you know, what's interesting is that the similarity with this card, this column here is interesting because the similarity here is that Star balances herself through the emotional and the physical world. So does Temperance. Temperance is like the next octave of Star in some ways, where there's this balance emotionally and physically. It's balance between the heart element and being grounded. But this is not in the upright position for you, Virgo. It's showing up. This is who you are under the surface, but it's kind of getting swept up with this heartbreak, with this betrayal, sadness. You know, this could even just be like missing someone. This could be separation from your lover or partner. Two of Cups in reverse means that the relationship, the exchange of hearts, is in ways not getting to express itself fully. So this could be separation from the loved one, especially someone that you feel like a child with, someone that you feel like naive and innocent. Six of Cups is, both of these cards are beautiful cards for a relationship. They're both exchange of hearts. These are the mature adults exchanging hearts, and these are the children exchanging hearts. And this is, Cups represent love, emotion. They represent the water element. So it really is like you're exchanging hearts on not only a childlike level, but on a mature level as well. However, in the reverse position, I'm getting that you don't have access to that. Your heart is breaking because there's separation, or there's non-allowance of that to happen, and it's throwing you off balance. This is the two cups that are depicted here, the two hearts that are being poured back and forth. But in between all of this, there's this Three of Swords energy. This is like heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal. This is like the dark clouds. So in some ways, Virgo, there is this sadness that's affecting your heart life. I can't say how it shows up for you, but I'm just getting the sense that you're missing this person. Whether it's a breakup, whether it's separation, whether it's that you're wanting to be in a relationship and you're not, there's something that's throwing you off balance. at the end of the month regarding your heart. And try to process it openly, or acknowledge it, because it's through, when these dark clouds show up, there's always this bright day afterwards. It's like when it rains, you know how crisp and clear it gets afterwards? You have to kind of go through it. You have to allow those tears to come, because that's what cleanses things. That is what allows that next new bright day to come. So be honest with yourself, acknowledge what's going on. You have some interesting cards here of twos, but in reverse. So acknowledge the reality of what's going on with that. I can't speak to what it's going to be for all Virgos. It may be different for each one of you, but that's what's going on. So that's my reading for you for November, Virgo.